Only 9 names on the Bayer Leverkusen bench tonight. Malik Tillman is one of them. 2 goalkeepers, Onlin and Lom, as well as Tape, Ehrman, Fernandez, Hoffman, and Czech international Patrick Schick. Short shift from Declan Rice for Alex Garcia. Into the hand up. Declan Rice instead offered a word. A kind one at that. Plenty more on the bench for Arsenal this evening. Kepa Arrizabalaga and Kari Ranson. The 2 goalkeepers. Ranson just 18 years old. Ben White's on the bench, as is Yerson Mosquera. Miles Lewis, Skelly, Calafiore, Christian Norgard, Kai Havertz, Noni Madueke, Gabriel Jesus, Max Dowman. I'm sure wasn't a familiar name to many prior to the start of this season, out of North London. And the 16-year-old has started to catch the eye on the first team stage. Also an opportunity this evening for Marley Salmon, another 16-year-old, plays his football for the under-21s. He was included against Mansfield Town. Starting the back 3 in the FA Cup. It's Kafane. Goes down easily. No foul. Left-hand side is Grimaldo. Now Palacios. Boku. To Quansah. Quite wide here. Taking to that touchline. He is part of the back 3, but at the moment it's Andrić and Tapsoba that are sitting. Quansah. Tapsoba. Keeping amongst themselves in the back 3 at the moment, Leverkusen. Andrić looks for Grimaldo down the left-hand side. Madza. To Tapsoba near halfway. They came through a playoff to get to this stage by Leverkusen. Finishing outside the top 8, they came through unscathed against Olympiacos. 2-0 winners in the end. Boku pulled back. Feast across the goal mouth. Not a bad ball from Garcia. Eventually had a play for a goal kick. But they keep showing their teeth here by Leverkusen. And Raya was almost in no man's land there. For a moment it looked like he might just dip in over his head. Hincapié. Gabriel. Oh, he's lost it. Now here's Kafane, right of centre. Tries to make ground into the penalty area. Held up well by Zubimendi. Laid off to Quansah. Martinelli gets back. So do a number of Arsenal players. And in fact, everyone's behind the ball now. Quick turnover from Bayer Leverkusen, but not quick enough. Quansah. Palacios. Shuffled across midfield, here's Andrić. Left-hand side now, Grimaldo. Struggling to get him into the game. Half an hour gone at the Bayer Arena. That's beyond Madza. An early ball from Saliba, and Andrić had to react because Gyökeres was sprinting through the middle. Good interception from Robert Andrić. Forward. Hincapié gets in the way. Good reading of the game by the Ecuadorian. No foul on Terrier, says the referee, but he stayed down, so they will stop the game just to check on him. Gabriel across to check on him. It was The Brazilian who made the challenge. He got a toe to the ball and the follow through, I think, just caught him high on the shin, close to the knee. 29-year-old Frenchman just taking a moment to get back to his feet. Well, last time they played here in Germany, 1-1 draw. Kirsten with a late leveller after Robert Pires put Arsenal in the lead after just 5 minutes. Then Arsenal will eventually go on to lift the Premier League title. It's been 20 years since they reached their one and only Champions League final back in 2006. Lost out to Barcelona that time and haven't been back since. This probably is the best Arsenal side since that era. They have lost their last 5 two-leg ties against German opposition, all of those against Bayern Munich, and some painful memories going back the past couple of decades. Leverkusen tend to fare pretty well against English opposition. They've regressed from 4 of 5 two-legged ties against English clubs. Their only failure, well, it was a big one, wasn't it? In 2004-2005, the year where Liverpool went on to lift the title in Istanbul. Spun into the channel by Zubimendi. Gyökeres will chase onto that, and, well, he was looking for the throw-in, but there was no touch off Tapsoba. Instead, it'll be a Leverkusen throw level with the edge of their box down that left flank. Would you believe it? We've got just a couple of seconds more than 10 minutes remaining. Edmund taps over the ball in his hands. Mikel Arteta, I'm sure he'll remain pretty calm as things stand, but the side haven't translated their dominance in this game, their stranglehold over the ball, into any kind of dominance. In fact, in terms of attempts and shots on target, it's all square. There's Raya. Looking for the ball over the top for Saka. Taps over too tall. Gyökeres chasing the loose ball. Back to Quansah, corner the penalty area. Long towards Kafane, ran into the back of Gabriel. William Saliba quickly spots up the free kick and slides it into midfield for Eberezer. Now Timber. Inside right channel, down the outside is Bukayo Saka now, with Grimaldo backing away. Saka inside, Timber now in possession, back to Zubimendi. Saliba. Saka. Doubling up on Bukayo Saka, no space for him to work in. He wins a throw-in. That's into Saliba. Gabriel in the centre circle. Slip to his left, here's Piero Hincapié. The pass won't find Gabriel Martinelli. But Arsenal with the throw in down their left-hand side. And the substitutes going through their paces on the touchline. I imagine Kasper Hjulmand will be quietly pleased with what he's seen from his team so far, frustrating Arsenal and carving out a few chances of their own as Poku wins the throw-in. That's off of Hincapié. He's only lost 8 games so far. Got into the semi-finals of the German Cup. But the headlines around Kasper Hjulmand's position, in the German media at least, is that Bayer Leverkusen will be assessing his position at the end of the season. It was a chaotic start to the year. Xabi Alonso making the move to Real Madrid, an ill-fated move in the end, wasn't it? Taps over, nice touch, laid off, Terrier. That's forward from Garcia, now Grimaldo. Spotted Christian Cafane, who just had to check his run, and in doing so is allowed from the byline. It's Gabriel. No Rice. Zubimendi for Eze. Saliba. Timber. Rice. Berry Eze. Martin Zubimendi. Gabriel back to Zubimendi, who starts to drift towards the left-hand side. Just getting a little bit bogged down here, Arsenal. Martin Zubimendi inside to Eze. Now Rice for Saliba. Back to Rice. Midway through Leverkusen territory, Saka just had his heels clipped by Grimaldo. And the foul goes against the Leverkusen wing-back. Free kick taken short, Saliba to Gabriel, now Rice in midfield. Eze. Gabriel Martinelli. Zubimendi. Too tight on that left-hand side for him to find a teammate. Leverkusen can't quite get it away, and it's Zubimendi stretching with Jarell Quansah, and he's won it back. Zubimendi pokes that towards Gyökeres on the left-hand side of the penalty area. Leverkusen get bodies around. Hincapié just wrapped a foot round Poku to stab it towards the 6-yard box. No one there in red and white. Leverkusen clear the danger, but not too far. And it's a Leverkusen throw-in. I think Gabriel was expecting the free kick. And 40 minutes gone at the Bay Arena. It's still goalless. Nervous energy from across on the other side of the pitch, where the 1,800 or so Arsenal supporters are congregated. There's a lot of talk about them being on the easier side of the draw. This their best opportunity. It's hard to argue against that. Great chance against the League Cup final coming up. First chance of silverware. Here's Eze, edge of the penalty area to his left for Gabriel Martinelli, using the outside of his right boot, looking for Gyökeres, slightly behind him, away by Grimaldo. Zubimendi tries to keep it moving. There it's Grimaldo again. Now Saliba underneath it, just inside the Arsenal half of the pitch, out on that right-hand side. The clearance loops out of play. Leverkusen with the throw-in, and they're continuing to frustrate the Premier League leaders. Well, you can see why Leverkusen have gone now over 300 minutes without conceding a goal in the Champions League. They have lost only 2 of their last 19 European home matches. And while they finished 16th in the league phase, that 2-0 win over Manchester City remains the blueprint of how they are playing tonight. They've absorbed pressure and tried to strike on the counter. Gabriel, in the way was Palacios. Header from Zubimendi, cleared away by Quansah. Volleyed forward by Palacios again. This time it's Gabriel with the interception. And now Hincapié on the left-hand side of the defence. Rice round the corner. Finds Zubimendi, back to Hincapié. Starts to make ground down the left-hand side. The pass is behind Martinelli, who wanted out in front of him to run onto. Another throw-in for Bayer Leverkusen. Another sign of frustration from Gabriel Martinelli, the shoulders slumping a little. That's in from Poku to Quansah, has Gyökeres breathing down his neck, and it's away by Blažević. Angelik trying to cushion that down to Poku, a little bit too much on the header, and again Arsenal with the throw-in. Nkapie with the ball in his hands. Comes backwards to Gabriel. And halfway, now Rice. Rice wide to Saka. Saka back to Saliba. Saliba for Gabriel. Eze. Little look over his shoulder as he receives the pass. Eze now drifting into a central position from this left-hand side. Switches it out to Bukayo Saka on the right. A flash of pink boot to take it down. Now turns it inside to Saliba. Here's Zubimendi. Gabriel. Martinelli. Foku gets tight. Martinelli looks inside for some space. Foku refusing to oblige. Martinelli twisting, turning left and then right and back again before Gabriel demands it. Martinelli, Saliba, Gabriel. They've held them off really well there by Leverkusen, and now retreating a little Arsenal. Nkapie to poke it away from Kafane. Rice, right inside channel. Rice to the edge of the box, lays off to Saka. Saka pulls it back towards his left boot and immediately smothered by Ezequiel Palacios, and it slipped to Christian Kafane. Only Gabriel back at the moment. It's Kafane running at Gabriel. Saliba retreating now. Christian Kafane all on his own. Slaps it against Saliba. Now trying to hold off Martin Zubimendi. He's done really well, Christian Kafane. The cavalry has arrived. Grimaldo, Terrier into the penalty area, trying to twist his way into space, and he's played it against Zubimendi for Bayer Leverkusen's first corner of the evening. 30 seconds remaining until the end of this first half, plus of course whatever the officials decide to add on. And proving to be a much trickier test than I think a few expected tonight. Alex Garcia wander across to take it. This of course is Arsenal's speciality. Corner taken short. It's back to Garcia by Terry and Mazza into the penalty area. Raya came. He didn't get a contact on the ball though. And now it's clear to Saka down the right-hand side. Only Martinelli in the middle. Gyökeres trying to get forward. Saka, corner of the penalty area, goes down outside the box. Referee waves him back to his feet. 2 minutes added on at the end of the first half. 45 minutes gone. Here's Palacios. Half turn, Mazza outside the box, tries the low drive. It was comfortably wide of Raya's right hand out upright. Quickly spots the ball up. Thinks better of playing it quickly. It was a nice turn from Mazza. Kafane and Terrier a bit too close to each other. Those, and that might have been a bit more difficult for Arsenal to keep them under wraps. Goal kick for David Raya. Frustrated Raya, he slipped as he struck that goal kick, and Nkapie couldn't keep it in play. A grimace on the face of the Arsenal goalkeeper. That's been handed off to Jarell Quansah. No belief in the Bayer Arena. It's flicked on by Terrier. Last touch came off Nkapie. So Leverkusen will finish off the half inside Arsenal territory. Quansah not in a rush though. Andrik to Quansah, and the referee blows the whistle for half-time. It's goalless between Leverkusen and Arsenal. And while Leverkusen haven't had anywhere near as much of the ball as the Premier League leaders, they've really frustrated Mikel Arteta's side. The best chance of the game is Gabriel Martinelli's effort. It was a nice move from Arsenal. Found Martinelli at the back post. He rattled the woodwork. That's the closest either side have come. Maybe a bit of a rethink required for Mikel Arteta and his team as they walk in at half-time. Bayer Leverkusen will take a lot of heart and confidence from that first half performance. All the talk of the quadruple. It's been banned from the Arsenal training ground, and you can understand it from Mikel Arteta. The old adage, they take one game as it comes. At the moment, the first 45 of this one, not quite gone to plan. All still to play for in the second half. Join us then for the half-time at the Bay Arena. It's by Leverkusen 0, Arsenal 0.
And TikTok. Thank you for listening to FootMob's audio commentary. Be sure to check out player ratings, shot maps and more in-depth info on the match page. Remember to check out FootMob's social channels on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter and TikTok. Thank you for listening to FootMob's audio commentary. Be sure to check out player ratings, shot maps and more in-depth info on the match page.
Gyökeres, but he can't find any power to test Blažević. Or how about that? At this stage, back in 2002, the last time these two sides met in the Champions League, Arsenal had the lead given to them by Robert Pires. It took Leverkusen to the final minute of the game to equalise. They went on to lose 4-1 at Highbury. Goals from, how about this for a list of goal scorers? Robert Pires, Thierry Henry, Patrick Vieira and Dennis Bergkamp made sure that Arsenal picked up the win in the group stage. This one much more precarious though. This taps over on the corner of the Leverkusen box. Well, no changes at the break, apart from to the scoreline, as you can tell. So as we started, for Arsenal, it's a 4-2-3-1. David Raya in goal. Hincapié, the former Leverkusen man at left-back. Gabriel and Saliba. Two centre-halves with Yuri and Timber on the right-hand side. Preferred to Ben White. Rice and Zubimendi in midfield. Martinelli on the left. Saka on the right. Eze in behind Victor Gyökeres. For Bayer Leverkusen, Blažević in goal. The three centre-halves, Kwanzaa, Andrich and Tapsoba. Poku and Grimaldo are the wing-backs. Palacios and Garcia in central midfield. Terrier and Mazza just behind. Christian Kafane, who's been a real handful for both Gabriel and Saliba throughout the evening thus far. Arsenal need a response here. I'm not sure they were expecting that. Rice just caught napping. The irony as well, Arsenal, the kings of the set piece, the kings of the corner. It's been controversial. People complaining about the way they go about things, the pushing, the shoving, the boxing in of goalkeepers. This one just a really good delivery from Grimaldo. And Eze unable to track Andrich's run. It was a free header for the Leverkusen captain in the end. Saka. And the Schadenfreude of last night and Tottenham's travails on their travels in Madrid have given way to concern of their own for the red half of North London here. Here's Poku. Laid off to Kwanzaa. And now Gyökeres. Excuse me, Andrich. Tapsoba. Gyökeres trying to buzz around the defenders and force some kind of opening. Palacios. Down the right-hand side, Poku. Holding off Hincapié. And now Palacios again to Robert Andrich. There's an argument to be had that he could have been sent off in that first half for a second yellow card after going into the book very early on. Palacios. Terrier. Into midfield. Palacios, clever little idea, but won't reach Terrier. It was read by Zubimendi. And the clearance is going to be collected just outside the centre circle by Edmund Tapsoba. The confidence now is palpable in the Leverkusen ranks. Plenty of encouragement in that first half. Recent history, though, for Bayer Leverkusen will be reason for optimism, reason to be encouraged for Arsenal. German media have suggested that Leverkusen, the way they go about things, that high-octane counter-attacking football, often comes at the cost of a dip in energy and performance later on in games in the last half an hour or so. Tapsoba. Back to Blažević. Straight down the middle. Cafane arm in arm with Gabriel. Cafane now jumping with Zubimendi, and it's Grimaldo that picks up the second ball. Shrugs off Zubimendi, still going Grimaldo. Just stumbled. He was knocked off balance by Timber on the edge of the penalty area. That allows Gabriel to get the ball away. Saliba, in fact, with the clearance, but it's only as far as Garcia. Now Terrier is out on the right-hand side with Poku. Kwanzaa. Anglik. Taps over again. Here comes Poku stepping in off the right-hand side. Speared across to the left for Grimaldo. Cross from Jeet was aimed at Cafane. It was away by a combination of Saliba and Gabriel, and now here's Timber. Sliding in goes Grimaldo, forces the ball out of play. He wants the throw in. Go Arsenal's way instead. Gabriel. Here for Declan Rice. Arsenal at a walking pace here. Forward by Saliba. Eze lays off to Timber. Now Saka. Arsenal with the advantage. Berry Eze. Nice turn from Rice in the hole. 30 yards from goal. Out to the left-hand side is Gabriel Martinelli. Gets it under his spell across the face of the penalty area. Poku lunged in, got a toe to the ball. Martinelli finds Rice. Zubimendi. Saliba. Now Saka. In front of the backpedaling, watchful Grimaldo, and three Leverkusen players have combined to outnumbered again. Bukayo Saka. Gabriel tentatively trying his luck in Arsenal in Leverkusen territory. Saka. He's going to try and take on all three defenders there. Didn't get past the first one. Grimaldo taps over. One's curling down the right-hand side, and Poku's set off after it. Hincapié had a head start and was going to get there first and turn it back to Raya. I'm sure it won't be long till Mikel Arteta changes things, at least from what we can see down below us. Is a vigorous warm-up. Awake is one that could be introduced. And Kai Havertz as well. They're going to have to weather a bit of a storm again, as here comes Grimaldo. Little chop in front of the referee as he made his way into Arsenal territory. A hand-up apology as well, because Poku had space on the right-hand side. Instead, they're going to try and keep the ball here, Leverkusen. Palacios. Garcia. Taps over. Raya. Through the middle for Cafane. Saliba on the end of it for Arsenal. Into midfield for Martinelli. That's not where he wants to be. Hincapié at left back. Gabriel again. Berry Eze on the edge of the centre circle. Laid off to Saliba. Into the centre circle, here is Declan Rice. Hincapié. Poku with a challenge. Gabriel Martinelli had got beyond him, and the yellow card has been produced for the Dutchman. This is a real opportunity for Arsenal to get back on level terms. It was clumsy from Poku. There's not too much in it, but enough contact. And the referee makes the right decision in the end. Foot just twisting underneath him, Gabriel Martin. That'll be a sore one as he rolled his right ankle under the weight of Poku's left knee. Joins Robert Andrick in the book. It's Rice who has been tasked with taking this free kick. 4 or 5 yards off the byline, Martinelli hobbling. This one almost in line with the 6-yard box, just outside the penalty area on that far side, and the referee's going to step in to have a little word. Bit of pushing and shoving in the penalty area. Kasper Schulman spoke about this before the game, and often that's just to bring the official's attention to it prior to the match. Rice flicked in there, and that's off of Piero Hincapié, and will loop out of play for a goal kick. Well, here's the chance for Arsenal to make those changes, and it's Bukayo Saka who's going to be withdrawn. The man with the captain's armband, that's been going to be passed over. And Bukayo Saka, his threat has just been nullified tonight by Leverkusen. Haven't been afraid of committing. A lot of bodies around him, doubled and tripled up on sometimes. So he'll bring on Noni Madueke here. A similar profile, but a different kind of player. He will get his head down and go to the outside, where Saka so often likes to cut in on that left. It's not often you say that about Bukayo Saka, that he's been ineffective, but he has tonight. Well, I've better days in an Arsenal shirt. It's away by Andrick. Terrier tried to get there before Gabriel. The header down will find Christian Kofane, and one fizzed out towards the left-hand side. Here's Grimaldo, and it's Noni Madueke getting back and doing the defensive work. His first involvement was to snuff out what looked a threatening move. Eze can't control that near halfway. Gyökeres gets on the end of it. Eze with a header, back to Victor Gyökeres. And now Madueke with Eze alongside him. Noni Madueke, they're backpedaling away. Eze, right-hand side, low ball across the 6-yard line. Andrick in the way. And it's turned behind by the goal scorer. Arsenal with the corner. "60 minutes gone. It's Leverkusen 1, Arsenal 0. Awkward one for Robert Andrick, who was stumbling as he made the clearance. Safety first. Looks like going to be Madueke to deliver. What was Nicolas Jover, the set-piece coach, conjured up for this situation? Gabriel now with the captain's armband on. One arm in the air from Noni Madueke. Left-footed ball. It's good goalkeeping from Blažević, who pushed it away, but it's headed back into the penalty area. Unfortunately, from a Leverkusen perspective, by Palacios, they've cleared the danger. Now Rice from deep towards the back post. There's Quansah with the clearing header. Eze keeps it alive. Martinelli moving all right now. Barry Eze. Rice again, right of centre, forward towards the edge of the penalty area. Zubimendi with the layoff. Madueke. Saliba. Zubimendi between the legs of Palacios to the advantage. As he was hacked down there, Martin Zubimendi. Madueke, keeper, punches it up in the air. And it's Grimaldo that completes the clearance. He was caught, Martin Zubimendi, by Palacios. He stayed down. And the referee, Umut Miller, has decided to reach for the yellow card. That's for Ezequiel Palacios. It's now Poku and Andrić in the book. Gabriel Martinelli, the only Arsenal player with a booking to their name so far this evening. Looking backwards. Shuffled across the length of the halfway line. Roller coaster domestically in terms of form, but they seem to punch above their weight this season in Europe, just Leverkusen. Tonight there's no difference so far. It's Capio getting forward. Now, Gabriel Martinelli. A little drop of the shoulder, he's gotten his way past Poku, deep towards the back post, Madueke the target. Cushion down to Gyökeres, poked away from him by Tapsoba. Saliba, Timber in the penalty area, tries the cutback. And in the way was Palacios again. Here's Grimaldo. Madza. He's sure that's out of play for an Arsenal throw-in. Just a little burst of energy from Arsenal. It's getting better. Starting to ask a few questions. I still fancy their chances in the second leg if it were to stay like this, but would be their first defeat in the Champions League this season, and that veneer of something approaching invincibility and start to lose its sheen a little. Here's Madueke. Pull back to Saliba, loose pass, he was looking for Timber. Oh, he's playing an inside half role, that's lofted forward, and Gabriel, oh, David Raya, what a starting position, because Gabriel had been beaten. And it was Grimaldo with Raya in no man's land, who thought he might have a chance to hit it first time. It's really sharp goalkeeping from David Raya. One goal deficit they can deal with. You'd expect Arsenal to score at least one back at the Emirates next week and probably overturn that. 2 goals and it starts to get a little bit hairy, especially with the schedule that Arsenal have over the next few weeks. The likes of the Carabao Cup final, Premier League commitments. They have a 7-point gap, of course, at the top of the league, but when the side chasing you, Manchester City, that 7-point gap is pretty small fry. Raya taking time on the edge of his penalty area. To his left foot, Gabriel. Towards the halfway line, Gyökeres. He tried to turn it round the corner. That's lovely footwork by Madza to juggle, and now he's Garcia. Mazza again, looking for Terrier. Can't squeeze it through that red and white wall. Raya to the base of midfield for Zubimendi. Alongside him now is Rice, who carries it away. Rice down the left-hand side. Martinelli latches onto the pass. Quansah across to meet him. Here is Gabriel Martinelli. A shake of the hips from the Brazilian. Trying to spin into space on the edge of the penalty area. Quansah matching him stride for stride though. Now Martinelli finds William Saliba. Saliba for Timber. Timber into the penalty area. Still going Jurriën Timber. There's the back heel, but Tapsoba is in the way. Holding firm here by Leverkusen. Garcia. Palacios. Tapsoba down this left-hand side. Not sure he really knows what to do with it here. It's a clever pass in the end as Christian Cafane just runs across Saliba to pick it up near the corner flag. Tapsoba, Madza. Garcia. A bit of a swagger to the way Leverkusen are playing here now. Palacios back to Angelik. Terrier, Grimaldo, Mazza, Grimaldo. Well, it's sharp here from Bayer Leverkusen. One touch passing in the Arsenal half of the pitch at the moment. Bereza and Martin Zubimendi, Noni Madueke, all chasing. To try and intercept. There's Garcia in midfield, linking up with Andrik. Andrik starting to move the ball a bit more quickly. Noni Madueke will come away with it though for Arsenal. Racing through the middle. Gyökeres just outside the penalty area. Looks at Madueke, he's forced a little wide, and that's straight into the gloves of Blažević from the cutback. The brains trust has converged in the Arsenal technical area. Mikel Arteta trying to take on some advice from his coaching team, because at the moment things certainly aren't going to plan, and a yellow card is going to be shown to Zubimendi for the challenge on Palacios just outside the centre circle. Well, he won the ball initially, but he bounced off the top, and the studs have caught Madsa on the instep. Not so sure about the decision. And they're on the back foot again. Robert Andrik will take the set piece for Leverkusen. Taps over. Forward by Grimaldo. Here's Mazza. Corner of the penalty area, Mazza jinking, trying to squeeze out a little bit of space. Grimaldo. Inside to taps over. Laid off to Andrik. Shifted across to Alex Garcia. Well, they're all in the Arsenal half of the pitch at the moment by Leverkusen. He's Andrik. Inside right channel. Tried to clip it out to the right hand side. And Poku just caught on his heels a bit, so that'll bounce out of play for an Arsenal goal kick. And we're into the final 20 minutes. This could well be Kai Havertz's time. Carried clear by Saliba, but he's got Kafane breathing down his neck, and he's forced a mistake again. In by Mazza. Yes. Well, Kai Havertz is getting stripped off and ready to come on. Martinelli on the far side. Laid off to Saliba. Saliba shifts it across. Here is Jurrien Timber. Madueke. Eze. Rice. Timber. Gabriel. Hincapié working it down the left-hand side. Is Martinelli again. Not sure they'll have much more time to make an impact. Gabriel Martinelli. Remains to be seen who will be replaced by Kai Havertz, but he's certain to come on shortly. Here's Noni Madueke on the right-hand side. Ignores Timber's overlap. Instead with Zubimendi. First time passing with Rice just outside the penalty area. Madueke. Inside to Rice. Zubimendi. Saliba. Madueke. Tries a bit of skill. Running across the face of the penalty area. Slides it across to Martinelli. Down the outside for Hincapié. Eze. Falls deeper. Saliba. Just about latch onto the pass from Eze. Madueke. Rice. 35 yards from goals. There's Saliba again. Timber. Saliba. Declan Rice. Martinelli tries to get to the ball, and the pullback is over Gyökeres. All the way out to this near side where Timber will scam. Timber that tossed it back in, and it was too close to Blasvik again. We are going to see that change that we're anticipating. A couple of changes. Leverkusen are going to bring on a change of their own, and here we are. There's Mazza is going to be replaced by Malik Tillman, the United States international. So fresh legs for Bayer Leverkusen to help see out the half. Well, Malik Tillman will get a rapturous round of applause from around the Bayer Arena. It won't come close to the noise we can hear around us. For Kai Havertz, who replaces Victor Gyökeres, played 150 times for Leverkusen, 46 goals. He returns tonight having navigated what is called the worst pain of his career. 2 surgeries on his hamstring and his knee that's kept him out for over a year. The sporting director was talking to the media before the game. They said that the fee received for Kai Havertz helped them put together their invincible side that won the Bundesliga title under Xabi Alonso 2 seasons ago. He's held in the highest of regards. They call him the Bayer Arena boy, and there are signs welcoming him home. He could break their hearts tonight. He needs to get right. He'd love to make an impact on his old stomping ground, but first they need to get the ball back. As Robert Andrich hits down in the centre circle, holding the back of his head, and the referee's just spotted it. So they will stop the game to check on the Leverkusen captain. So a brief delay, almost a little intermission before the final act of this game. If you are only just joining us, first of all, where have you been? Secondly, Bayer Leverkusen leading Arsenal by a goal to nil. A goal scored by Robert Andrich from a corner, would you believe? Brilliant ball from Grimaldo, nodded home by Andrich. If it does stay like this, it'll be a big result for Bayer Leverkusen, and even if Arsenal find a way back into the game, the one thing that you can say is this will set out a blueprint for those who are going to come up against them in the last few months of the season, whether it's in the Premier League, the FA Cup, the Carabao Cup, or here in the Champions League, that there is a way to get at Arsenal. Here's Timber in the penalty area. Immediately, 2 black shirts converge around him. It's off tap sober, and now Leverkusen with a chance to build from the edge of their own penalty area. And here's Kafane bursting into Arsenal territory. Kafane, left-hand side, still going. Gabriel comes to meet him. Kafane still edge of the penalty box, and then, well, it's a poor effort from range from Alex Garcia, leaning back as he hit it, took it off Kafane. Looked a really promising chance as Kafane burst away. Terrier made a run through the middle, he was ignored, and then Garcia saw it just pop up in front of him. And Mikel Arteta's response to that was putting his hands on his head. He can't quite believe what he's seeing from his side tonight. 77 minutes gone. Saliba. Martin Zubimendi. Hincapié. Eze. Back on level terms. It's had a play for a corner. It's good work from Tillman. Getting in the way. This really is a chance now. They've really struggled from open play here, Arsenal, to create opportunities. But if they can get one of these set pieces right, things may take a much brighter turn. Madueke into the middle of the 6-yard box. That's away by Tapsoba. Grimaldo stretching, nods it further clear. Madueke again picks up the second ball. Little chop. Will he get to the byline? Lifted towards the back post. It was Zubimendi stretching. Martinelli wide on the left-hand side. Eze has space on the edge of the box if they can find him. It's backwards though to Gabriel. Now Declan Rice. To the edge of the penalty area for Timber, right of centre. Saliba. Madueke. Wide on the right-hand side. Grimaldo. His eyes fixed on the ball. Madueke trying to dance him out of position. Saliba. Rice. Zubimendi again. On the outside is Hincapie. Now Martinelli. In towards the near post. Met by Quansah. The whistles have already started around the Bayer Arena. They want the full-time whistle with 79 played. Leverkusen. They want the free kick. It's going to go against them. Alex Garcia, who just lent into Martin Zubimendi and caught one on the way down. Right decision in the end for a free kick for Arsenal. Backing in from Terrier in the end. It's going to be Declan Rice from a deep position, left hand inside channel, trying to work out the best way of utilising this set piece, Arsenal. And they're going to be bringing on Gabriel Jesus shortly. Rice to deliver. That one's relatively flat towards the edge of the 6-yard box. It was aimed at Kai Havertz. Again, strong defending from Tapsoba. And Grimaldo might have the opportunity to burst away. It's clipped up in the air and he'll pick up the loose ball. There's space on the far side for Poku. A poor pass in the end from Grimaldo. Just under hit it. And allows Martinelli to slide in. And it's Declan Rice on the edge of his own penalty area. Final 10 minutes at the Bayer Arena. It's Leverkusen 1, Arsenal 0. That's offside on Kai Havertz. Here come a handful of changes, the first of which are going to be by Leverkusen swaps. Alex Garcia, it looks like he's going to come off. It's Ezequiel Palacios' number that's up. And Jonas Hoffmann and Ezequiel Fernandez will be coming on to replace Palacios and Terrier. It's not a brilliant night from the Argentine. Jonas Hoffmann a slot into midfield alongside Fernandez, a bit more strength and physicality in there. And Gabriel Jesus replacing Ebere Eze. Looks a little disappointed as he takes his seat on the bench in the dugout alongside his manager and coaches. No Martin Odegaard available again for Arsenal. Funny thing to say, I mean, Arsenal leading the Premier League with that 7-point gap, but they have missed him this year. Well, the referee's not happy here. He's blown the whistle on William Saliba. For a tug on Christian Kafane, and Arsenal were expecting a free kick of their own. It's in a decent position for Leverkusen. Alex Garcia, right-footed ball swung deep towards the back post, too deep, and it's all the way out of play for it. Arsenal goal kick. Raya quickly sprinting across to pick a ball up from next to the advertising hoardings. You can see what they were trying to do. It was Robert Andrick again making the run at that back post. It's Saliba. Rice at the base of the centre circle. Sliding into Leverkusen territory. Martinelli towards the back post. Oh, the header comes in and it's over the crossbar from Timber. Probably a bit too high for him in the end, and he had to stretch. Couldn't control his effort. It's over the crossbar for a Leverkusen goal kick. It's been that kind of night for Arsenal. Really good ball from Gabriel Martinelli. Here's a shout from Noni Madueke, who's better placed. He was free at the back post there, Madueke. Taps over. Well, we talked about that final third of the game in terms of Bayer Leverkusen play a high energy brand of counter-attacking football, and one of the criticisms of them over recent weeks has been that they tend to slip late on. We haven't seen much evidence of that. There was a late equaliser against Freiburg in the Bundesliga at the weekend. Symptomatic of that kind of issue. Saliba. Zubimendi. Back to Saliba. Noni Madueke. Havertz. Declan Rice. Low ball driven into the box. Ricochets away off a Leverkusen body, and it's Quansah that scoops it clear. Here's Raya near halfway. Last five. Saliba. Gabriel out to Madueke. Now Saliba. Madueke sliding in. Referee. He's going to point to the penalty spot. Robert Andrick is not happy. It was a rash challenge from Malik Tillman. Madueke had the beating of him. Tillman slid in. Oh, I don't think that's a penalty for me. Tillman slides in, and Madueke seems to kick the back of his heel. There's nothing there. That should not be a penalty for my money. Absolutely not. It's a lucky escape for Arsenal. I really do not agree with the referee's decision here, and Rob Deepernick, the video assistant referee, is taking on the opportunity to provide some advice to Umut Mele. Referee has a decision to make here. He's listening to the advice. Gabriel and Robert Andrick have just been called across to the referee. Now, for me, it seems like Noni Madueke initiates the contact. VAR check is over. It's a very, very soft penalty for me. Tillman slides in, and for me, Madueke kicks the back of his ankle, not once but twice. That's not a penalty for my money. I think Bayer Leverkusen can feel very aggrieved here. And it's Kai Havertz with Saka and Havertz off the pitch. Kai Havertz, the man that scored, is the darling of the Bayer Arena. It's Havertz versus Blasvik on what's been a topsy-turvy kind of night. How must he be feeling? His heart must be beating out of his chest. A club close to his heart, that he could be breaking their hearts of. A soft penalty decision, but Arsenal won't care. It's a lifeline in this game. Havertz, hands on hips. Blasvik bouncing on his line. Havertz beats Blasvik into the bottom corner. There's no celebration from Kai Havertz, but Arsenal with an incredibly fortunate penalty to make it 1-1. Into the bottom corner. No mistake from the spot from Kai Havertz. But this is a decision that'll be mulled over, not just in the immediate aftermath, but for a long time after this game. If you get the chance to see it, I'm sure you will. You may disagree with my assessment, but for me, it looks like Noni Madueke has kicked the heel of Malik Tillman. He's left the leg dangling, yes, Tillman, but it seems like Madueke's momentum carries him into Tillman rather than the other way round. The 90th minute. The 11th hour. There's Kai Havertz, the hero for Arsenal. Grimaldo. Fernandes. Here's Jonas Hoffmann. 3 minutes added on at the end of what's been a brilliant game of football. Garcia. Grimaldo. Shoved over Alex Garcia by Kai Havertz. Free kick is a waste. Saliba has wasted possession as well. Slips as he tried to clear it. Another throw in for Leverkusen on the near side. Sober's going to take it. On the line. Kafane tussling with Timber. Helped back to his feet. Right, Christian Kafane. A little shake of the head from Kasper Hjulmand. Done so well by Leverkusen. And there'll be real question marks around Arsenal's performance this evening. But they say, don't they, it's the sign of champions to play poorly but still come away with a result. You'd fully expect Arsenal to go on and progress from this tie with a second leg at the Emirates next week. There's certainly still time here for them to find a winner. Smoke just drifting across the playing surface, billowing down for the travelling Arsenal supporters. It's going to be an Arsenal corner. Declan Rice strolling across to take it. Inswinger is going to come in from the far side, pushing and shoving, as there always is from Arsenal corners. The referee once again stepping in to have a word with the protagonists of the piece. We have 20 seconds left of added time by my watch. One arm in the air from Declan Rice, swung in towards the 6-yard box. It's claimed by the goalkeeper. The referee's blown the whistle. He's going to show a yellow card to someone. Grimaldo and Kai Havertz. For the wrestling in front of the goalkeeper. It's a silly decision again. I'm not too sure about that from Umut Mela. Rice puts it underneath the crossbar. The header was from Jesus. There's another free kick. For Bayer Leverkusen. Looked like Gabriel Jesus was about to win it there. Instead, with a chance to launch this high into Arsenal territory. And that's the last of the action. The referee blows the final whistle. Bayer Leverkusen have put a real scare into Arsenal here this evening. They scored just after half-time. Robert Andrich thundering one home from a corner. Mikel Arteta's come storming onto the pitch to have a word with the referee. I'm not entirely sure what for, because his side were pretty poor tonight. And the decision to hand Kai Havertz the penalty, from which they equalised late on, is one that will be debated long into the evening and throughout the week until the return leg at the Emirates next Wednesday. Next Tuesday, rather. He was always going to play some part, Kai Havertz, the man moulded, grown and brought up here, the man with Bayer Leverkusen in his heart. There was ice in his veins when he tucked it home. But Europe will sit up and take notice. The favourites for the Champions League title were rattled this evening. A physical performance from Bayer Leverkusen. They caused them problems time and time again. And on a different night, this could have been a famous victory for Kasper Schillmann's side. Nothing to separate them as they head into the second leg next week. But Europe's elites will sit up and take notice. There are better teams than Leverkusen in the tournament. Can they produce a similar performance to stop the Arsenal machine? That remains to be seen, but what is not questioned is the result this evening. Spoils shared at the Bayer Arena. Full time and it's finished. Bayer Leverkusen 1, Arsenal 1.
Remember to check out FootMob's social channels on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter and TikTok. Thank you for listening to FootMob's audio commentary. Be sure to check out player ratings, shot maps and more in-depth info on the match page.